Midwest Ghost Hunters at Pythian Castle in Springfield, Missouri. It's our Dark Matter podcast. Been sitting here talking about everything from... What the fuck was that? What the fuck was that? Yeah, we just literally started. Something was there at the very beginning. All right, so we should start out by saying we're in a different room today. Not a different one. We're used to it. This is a room we started in years ago. You can hear the echo because the other room down there, something was going on down there. So we're in the other room. But I just heard something right when we started. We were talking about... what were you going to say?
Plug our website.
What's that? What the fuck does that mean?
Just tell people what our website is.
mwghosthunters.com.
There you go. Now talk about whatever you want.
Well, we were talking about... That's how we always do this. We were talking about Liver King. I've been watching the Liver King documentary. Nothing paranormal there. But then we were also... did you hear that?
Yeah, I was...
Oh, yeah, what the fuck?
Did you hear it?
I know.
So I don't have my headphones on.
Yeah, I know people...
So I don't hear any of this.
So why don't you put them on?
Well, I thought it might be beneficial for one of us to keep them off for a while.
Oh, gotcha.
While we're hearing things.
I know people get annoyed when we keep saying, did you hear that? Sometimes you can't fucking help it.
There's a really good South Park episode about this.
About what? About
where they make fun of ghost hunters, and it is hilarious.
It's not the whole episode. It's like a one-off bit.
We should not get mad at them for this. This is
I wouldn't
really
get mad
funny.
at them at all.
You haven't seen this clip? Okay, when this
I heard it, yeah.
When this is over, you got to look. We're going to look it up on your laptop. You're going to watch it.
I haven't seen it. Is it just a couple of guys? Are they making fun of Ghost Hunters, the show specifically?
Pretty much,
but
yeah.
they're
Okay,
also
maybe
just
I
kind of
have.
poking fun at just all of us.
Yeah.
Like
Do you know who? Do you know who Danny Gonzalez is?
I've heard of him.
The YouTube guy. He's fucking hilarious. I watch his videos all the time. He did an entire episode watching Ghost Hunters and Ghost Adventures, and then he went to the Stanley Hotel and did an overnight there, and it was fucking hilarious. I don't get offended when people make fun of what.
No,
we
I
do.
think it's really funny.
Because hell, I make fun of it as much as
I was
anybody
going to
else.
say we've made fun of the
Yeah.
same things they're making fun of on the show.
Yeah.
And it's spot on. It's like a 15-year-old episode.
I think I remember seeing that because didn't they model the two guys to look like Jay and Grant from?
I think it's supposed to be them.
Yeah,
I think so,
I have
yeah.
seen.
I think they even say like the show Ghost Hunters.
Yeah.
Right?
Pretty sure.
Yeah, I remember seeing that at some point. But it doesn't hurt my feelings at all to make fun of what we do here.
No, they're 100% right.
And it doesn't.
But one of the things they keep saying is, "Did you hear that?"
And I hate sometimes that just spills out, and I don't even mean it. But
Well,
it's like,
that's your
motherfucker,
honest reaction.
You hear something, you hear something raspy talking in your left ear. What the fuck are you gonna do? I mean, you can't just mark it. Sometimes it's like, what the fuck was that? That was right here.
Well, we've done that a lot too, though. Where a lot of, if you're listening to our podcast, you wouldn't even know.
I know.
That, like
Yeah.
a second before that, we heard some weird shit.
But when it's real close, that's like fuck, you know. But yeah, I don't mind when people make fun of us. I don't mind when people make fun of cryptids. But last week on the podcast, it was so fucking funny.
It was good.
Oh man, you guys were going at it.
Well, I wasn't really going at it. I wasn't meaning to.
Well, I know. But
it's just
it was good. It was good. It was good stuff.
I love the fact that the ghost, when you guys got really going at it the heaviest, the ghost started jumping in too on it here because we have EVPs.
Hasn't that happened before?
Yeah, it has. And we do have an EVP we'll play here in a minute. But I did want to say, Tyler's not here yet. And I would say this whether he was here or not. But that podcast last week where you guys were, I don't know what else to fucking call it besides going at it. You were going at it. It continued on our text thread.
Yeah, it did.
It's
It
that
did, yeah.
where the 100 notifications came from because I didn't read all of them.
I was in Minnesota. I went up to Minnesota. I was like 5 miles.
But here's the problem with it. I agree, and I would say this again if you were sitting right there. I do agree with you. I agree with both of you, but I don't think he's coming at it from the right angle. And this is one of the other things besides Liver King that we were talking about before we started.
Hunter made a really good point, and he said, "Honestly, I think you're both agreeing."
Well, yes.
And what did you say? How did you put it? Because I know what you're saying. You're 100% right.
It's like you're both agreeing, but the words
the
that
semantics
you're using,
of
it's like a word game.
With let's take all the people on the fucking airplane that were at O'Hare. Like Hunter said earlier before we started, they saw a large black thing fly by. They didn't all stand up and say, "Oh my God, there's Mothman." They didn't do that.
That came later.
Yeah.
And that wasn't even from them. That was probably from other people.
Some guy in his basement said, "That's Mothman."
Yeah.
Like, we don't know that's Mothman. All we know is that there were eyewitnesses that saw this.
So Tyler gets hung up on, he kept going back to it was so fucking funny. He kept going back to the fucking werewolf. Yeah. He kept going back to the werewolf. Yeah, but what I was telling John is, let's take Willard, for instance. And this is not what we planned on talking about, but here we fucking go. You know, with the closet door closed and after we all left the house, who is to say, and we didn't do this, but who's to fucking say we didn't have a fourth guy and we left him in there and we left the recorder running?
Now, you're getting at the crux of my argument here.
I know.
Because all of it takes a little bit of belief.
You have to suspend a little, because we were there and we know there wasn't a fourth guy. But there's people out there who I'm sure are convinced there was a fucking fourth guy. But we just told him, hey, when we leave the house, just slide that door closed.
See, this is the thing I wanted to talk about on this podcast today, and that is, what is your threshold for proof for something that you don't necessarily agree with? And what I'm talking about, I don't care if you are talking about politics. I don't care if you're talking about people. I don't care if it's entertainment. I don't care, whatever it is. There's a certain threshold that you need if it's something you already fundamentally agree with, or if it's something you completely don't.
Okay, let's say that a long time ago, Ben Franklin goes out with his fucking kite and he throws it up into the sky. He gets the lightning experiment. And you go back to a village that are still boiling fish whole in a pot. And
pork.
So you go back to a village and you tell people this. You're going to have to believe a little bit of what Benjamin Franklin says, because you weren't there.
I know. That's what I was getting at with the Willard thing. It's like, what we have there isn't proof.
It's just as much proof as those people on that plane at O'Hare.
So this is what I was saying earlier. If you go to the hospital and you get a lump biopsy, there's cancer cells in it. They see the cancer cells. They've got fucking proof that you have some cancer that could be growing.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, because if Tyler was here, he'd be saying that's exactly right. What I'm saying is, there's proof. I think he was touching on like the preponderance of evidence.
Okay, preponderance of evidence is what he's talking about.
That UFOs have so much evidence that we can't deny them. And that's true. I agree with that. Again, I agree with that, right?
Yeah.
But then you're kind of like underhanding the whole thing with, for him, it's all about what are these things called?
I know. Yeah.
Like, because he hates the idea of Bigfoot. We're the dumbasses collectively as the human race that gave it the name Bigfoot.
Well, I mean, honestly, and I went through the website the other night, updating a few things, and I was looking at we've got some great shit on there, and I was looking at some of our best stuff. Even some of our best stuff is not proof.
I was thinking on the ride up here, I was thinking about a question I wanted to ask everyone. And we've asked this question before, but the question I wanted to ask everyone was, in your opinion, what's the best thing we've ever, like your best, if the United States government came to us and said, what's your best evidence? What would we hand them over on a flash drive? And I was thinking about that on the way up here. And everything I thought about, everything, the Willard house, all the EVPs we caught, the growling, the whispering, I remember thinking, I hear this silly shit. And sometimes I wonder, like, God, that's because our evidence is so fucking weird that it takes a little bit of belief in us
to
understand that it might be true.
You have to. That's what I'm saying. We don't really have proof of jack shit. Everything, now, I hate to say this out loud, but hopefully saying out loud will give us a little more credibility. Everything on our website could have been easily manufactured.
You can go to another website in 5 minutes and find stuff that sounds very similar. No problem, yes. And it's fake as shit.
On your phone, you could do it.
Yeah.
Easily.
I mean, one of them, like I pointed out one time, was ripped a soundbite from the fucking Five Nights at Freddy's, but it was there, and it was before that game came out.
Yeah, it was like 12
stuff
years
ripped
before the
from
game
video
came out.
games. Yeah. And we've caught stuff that sounds like, get out. Like weird shit that's like, that's from a video game or a movie. Yeah. Like, that can't be real. The only reason we're so amazed at it is because each of us know that none of us are going to fake that shit.
Well, we were there. Right. We know that recorder was on the mantle and nobody was inside.
Like, if we had this is why we don't invite people to come with us. Not that we don't trust people, but I don't trust people. If we had like a guest person come and we caught something really good, all of us would immediately suspect that new person was faking it.
And we've been in that situation before.
Right, yeah.
So here's Tyler.
We're talking about, do you think that, what do you think the best evidence is we've ever caught?
We're talking about a couple different things. That's one of them. We're talking about the fact, did you hear that?
Yeah, I did.
I hate to say it, but we're talking about the fact that I was looking through our website the other night as I was updating some things, and I got to looking at all of our evidence. We got some great shit on there, really knockout stuff, but really nothing that we have posted is really proof of anything in the way that you would want scientific proof, in the way that you put it under a microscope and say, okay, this is this 100%. We don't have that. Any of our stuff could be manufactured, faked, or easily made. We don't do that. Obviously, we don't fake anything. We've thrown away some shit that was phenomenal just because we couldn't be 100% sure. So that was what we were talking about. And then John brought up, what was your point that you brought up about?
What is your level of proof that you have to?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
What I was talking about was, what level of proof do you need if it's something? I think that people always kind of migrate, and I don't care. I think this is true for paranormal. I think it's true for anything. Anything. You have a level of proof that you need if you have a fundamental belief in this, and then you have a different level of proof that you need if you don't believe in this. So what is what's the level that will change
it also
your
goes
mind?
back to what I was talking about, like preponderance of evidence. Because if you have like a bank that was robbed and you're looking for a suspect and you find someone half a mile away eating Taco Bell who has a history of robbing things, and he has very high dollar bills found in his car, but not all of it, right? And he's got the same weapon that the guy used to hold up the bank. You don't know he did it, but there's a preponderance of evidence that he did, right?
Right.
So you've got to kind of take go off on a little bit of a cliff there and believe in it a little bit. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. I
Did anybody have a chance to watch the video I sent over the weekend of the Art Bell, one of the demon hauntings that he had called in?
I haven't watched that one yet, but I will. I've watched everything you've sent. I'm just running behind because
You really need to watch that one that I sent about the Art Bell, because Art Bell had this woman call in. She was like a grandma. She's like an old grandma, and she was talking about that her and her family had been haunted by what she referred to as a demon, and it lasted over the course of like 6-7 years, where this thing tormented them, and the evidence that they were able to catch slowly like ramped up and got worse. But even as she was explaining all of this, I was thinking about this same thing. I'm like, oh well, I mean, that could have been faked. She could have faked this. They could have faked. The beautiful thing about Art Bell is he never accuse someone of that. He just let them talk.
Oh, yeah.
And kind of let that preponderance of evidence accumulate to where you have to kind of go out. By the end of this video, this old woman, I believed everything she was fucking saying. And at the beginning of the video, a couple things she said, I was like, oh, come on.
What was she talking about specifically?
At one point she said that the demon started communicating with them. And the way that it communicated with them, not verbally, but it would write on the mirror of their bathroom with soap.
Well, isn't that what Kristen said happened at their house in the bathroom? I know it was soap, but didn't the mirror fog up and something wrote something on the mirror? And her
Remember that?
I do remember that. Yeah.
What was the tipping point for you in it? Because this is a great example of what I was talking about. At what point? What was the piece of evidence you said? Okay, now it's all.
I mean,
legit.
it's hard to say because it's like all that evidence like together, because this video I sent, I think it was like 2.5-3 hours long, because this guy on YouTube does a really good job of taking these old Art Bell calls that we used to listen to while we were younger growing up, right? Like during the 90s when the internet first started.
Loved it.
When it was this beautiful place, right? Art Bell would have these callers call in, and sometimes they'd be months between phone calls. So you'd have to be a regular listener to keep up with like the story, the saga, right? But these guys on YouTube did something that's amazing, and I've been listening to them constantly. It's all I've been watching, is that they compile.
They've connected all the dots?
And they've made it a one video.
Oh, that's nice.
So you can set, like, remember Mel's Hole?
I do.
I remember this guy.
I would never have remembered that.
I remember this guy calling in.
I would have never remembered that.
But I did not realize that he called in and talked to Art Bell for a total of 5.5 hours.
I didn't know that.
And there's this YouTube video where it's like the complete saga. Where this guy talks about, and if you don't know what I'm talking about, it sounds like something fucking stupid. Mel's Hole, what the fuck?
Yeah.
This guy in his backyard supposedly found this hole that he could not measure the depth of.
There's been quite a bit about Mel's Hole.
And that's one of those where I'm like, okay, well, this sounds stupid as hell. But then you listen to 5.5 hours of stories, not just from him, but from other people who supposedly witnessed this thing. And it just gets really weird. So to answer your question, when did I believe it? I don't know. It was probably around the time when she started talking about things that we have all experienced.
Okay. Was it just her credibility started becoming a little more solid?
Yeah, because she would say details that, first of all, she never wrote a book or made money off this thing. And ever since it's happened, the only person she's talked to about this is Art Bell. There's been no book sale, no TV show, no movie It's just her, and she's saying this stuff, and she's just wanting to tell people because that adds credibility.
What is it? Is this a video that people listening can find? I can put it up on the website if they can't.
Yeah, I mean, I found it by like Google searching like Art Bell.
If you could just embed
Worst
this on the
haunting
website
or something, and I don't know the name of the YouTuber who compiles them, but we should probably give them credit because that's a lot of work. I don't know how they do that.
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
You would have to have all of Art Bell's phone calls like recorded from his show, and you'd have to go through piece by piece, thousands of hours, and take out snippets and combine them. I don't know how they did that.
World Mania is the page that it's on. It is called Mel's Hole: The Epic Saga.
Oh, okay. Well, I was talking about the other one, the woman.
Well, I was going to give them both.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and then the other one, that was let's see. I want to give credit to. Okay, that was put up by Russell's House is the name of the page, and it's Art Bell True Haunting.
That's it. True Haunting.
True Haunting, and that man, that thing is long. I can't wait to watch that. That's over 2 hours.
Yeah, that's a really good question. What John asked is like, when did I start believing her? Because it wasn't in the first hour. Like it was towards the end when she's talking about some things that like I remember thinking, well, we've got stuff like that, and this is how people would think.
So for you, if I don't want to put words in your mouth, so let me know if I'm wrong on this, but for you, it's just the overall weight that shifted it for you.
Yeah. And I think that's the same thing with like what's going on with UFOs right now.
Well,
like how collectively as a society we're starting to get a little more accepting
and
of it.
UFOs is what I was just thinking about whenever, because I think one of the disconnects we have here is the definition of the word proof. A good video is not proof.
Not even like a good EVP.
But I would even come back even on some of the science stuff that we're talking about here. Even if you get into, what Chris is talking about, this is definite. I will tell you that when you get into things like blood and things like that, even that is not a definite scientific the way that you would think it is in all cases.
No, it's not. I mean, it can be wrong, but still, if we catch a really good video of a shadow figure coming down a hallway, what we've got there is an awesome, really good video. What we don't have is proof that it was a shadow figure coming down the hallway.
Right, because you can't really, unless you could do that in a lab somewhere and control all of the things.
Yeah. So I think that's part of the disconnect whenever we talked about, Mothman or whatever, is determining what the actual definition of proof is.
And I also think part of it that plays into this, and I think it plays into it with everything, is your fundamental belief. If I absolutely do not believe that sort of thing is even remotely possible, the threshold of proof that I'm going to require is going to be enormous, to the point where you could probably never get over it. But if it's something I do believe in, take UFOs. If I'm somebody who fundamentally believes that there are aliens, that there's other life forms out there, that's there, if that's part of my fundamental belief, I'm going to require a lower threshold for something like that than I am for something that I absolutely think is stupid and there's no possibility of it.
Have you guys ever looked at the jellyfish UFO?
Yes.
The thing that looks like the probe droid from Star Wars?
Yes, it looks exactly like that.
It's wild. Mm-hmm. It's the weirdest shit I've ever seen. And at first, when I saw that picture, I thought, well, that's the dumbest fake shit I've ever fucking seen. Until I realized and learned a little bit more about it, that no, that's a military video, and they had it under FLIR, and it was changing colors constantly. And then this thing went from air, shot down into the water, came back out like 2 hours later, and shot off into space.
It's one of those that they call an organic.
Who knows if it's organic or not? Though,
well,
right?
I have a little trouble when they start referring to UFOs as an organic being in itself.
Well, all I know is that the United States government had no idea what that was.
Yeah.
And
there was another one in the Middle East.
I was going to say, I think there's several jellyfish.
I mean, it's not your typical UFO. It's not like a disc that we've been seeing since the 1800s. This thing literally looks like a probe droid.
It does, exactly.
There's some of those that are posted online that are 100%.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Just like
some of them are.
Cluster
yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
A cluster of
that's what
balloons.
the internet has become. It's become a shit show. But like you were saying the other day, back, in 1996, you're hitting the sweet spot because you got all this stuff posted on the internet. Once your modem finally dialed into it,
oh man,
like you were locked in for the night.
Oh, for the night. Like you could not walk away from this shit. And Art Bell was like
there was no AI bullshit.
Art Bell was like the crowning, like the golden, like the best part of it.
Yep.
And then you could do your own research. This is what I was telling you. It's like, it was really fun when Art Bell had an episode about a guy talking about this obscure thing that you had already ran across.
Yes.
And like,
that's what happened with the guy. And this was an episode of Art Bell The guy who, it's so fucking weird. Some of these stories to just retell just sound so fucking stupid. And maybe it is. I don't know.
Well, that's the beautiful part
it's
about...
like the old lady for you. This guy became believable to me as he started telling this fucking story. And I've told it on this podcast before. Remember the guy who crawled under his crawl space of his house, I think, and then ended up, when he came back out, in a different fucking place. Except he was in the past or the future? He was in the future,
that was like a guy went to,
25 years.
there was a shed in his backyard.
That's a different one.
Okay.
That's a different one. This guy crawled under the crawl space, and when he came out, it was like 25 years later, and he was seeing all the same people that he knew, but they were all 25 years older. And I've told this on this podcast before. Remember he had his flip phone with him, and he took pictures?
I think I remember you talking.
He took pictures of the fucking neighborhood and stuff, and of the people, and they stayed on his flip phone, supposedly when he came back. Now, me retelling that sounds stupid, but listening to it was so fucking compelling, because at the beginning, I thought this guy's been smoking, before he called. But then as it went, his believability started going up. I can't say that it 100% happened, but it was entertaining as fuck. And that's where I put a lot of this stuff. Like when we talk about Sasquatch and all that shit, I don't believe necessarily that as we sit here during this podcast, out in West Virginia, there's a half moth, half man sitting in a tree. I don't believe that. I really don't. But whenever people claim they see it, I feel like I have to suspend my hypocrisy a little.
Well, and I think also you come back in and look at like the TV show Paranormal Witness that Chris has always talked about. I think if you look at something like that, they had those Sasquatch, whatever you want to call them, whatever it was. The deputy sheriff goes out and he goes hunting, and he's in the woods, and he goes into the woods areas, and he comes back out of that, and supposedly he has a contact with them and gets chased by them and everything else. And you could say, okay, well, he hallucinated, it was a bear, blah blah blah. You could say that. He comes back, sits down, and the sheriff said, he tells the sheriff, "You're not going to believe what I saw up there." Blah 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 blah. He says, "I do believe that. We've had numbers of reports of that. I've seen that myself. Don't talk about that."
Yeah, I remember that one. That was...
So here's what you're talking about, where like if somebody sees something like out in the woods that's unexplained, supposedly, and you got to kind of like give them the benefit. Here's a really good story that kind of... Okay, there was this village in Cambodia, right? And back in 2005, this is real. This happened. Back in 2005, this village had been experiencing people being murdered. But they wouldn't just be murdered. They'd be mutilated. And they'd be found days later with their organs ripped out, mutilated. And nobody knew what could be doing this. And at some point... over the course of like 10, 15 years, 80-something people had been taken from this village, torn apart, and left in the forest around this fishing village in Cambodia. And this was real. Like, it was happening. So this one guy said, okay, finally this little boy was taken, and it happened to him, and he had a grandson that was around his age, and he was like, well, that could have been my grandson. So it kind of spurred him to action, right?
Okay.
And so he went to the village, and he rounded up a bunch of people. They all started to think, this has got to be something supernatural. The devil is attacking us, right? Because there's no way there's a human getting away with this, doing this right underneath our eyes, and we're not noticing it. And there's no way an animal is doing this, because it's happening so frequently, and it's so like the scenes that they were left. It's weird they didn't... If it's an animal, you think more would be eaten, or you'd see it dragged off.
Gotcha.
None of that. It was just almost like murdered, take out your entrails and leave. Like some of this like weird like cult shit or like weird demon stuff. So this whole village was convinced this is supernatural. So they all got together, and about 50 or 60 fishermen one night stayed out in the woods and basically did like stalking hunting, right? Ambush hunting. They'd sit and they'd make no noise, like you're in a deer stand, and you would just watch. And they were wanting to catch whatever this thing was.
Okay.
Which people had reported hearing like a low rumbling, like growls, like something that, and they was like, well, no animal we know could be that big, because it almost made your whole body shake. It was so loud.
Okay.
So again, they thought demon, right? First night, nothing happens. Second night, nothing happens. And people were starting to give up. And it got to the seventh night, and he had finally convinced them to all stay like one more night. Just give me one more night. And on the seventh night, they did something different. They hung up like meat from trees, and they set traps in this meat with these really big hooks. And again, they're kind of like grasping at straws here, right? Because are you going to catch a demon on a fish hook, like hanging from a tree, right? But why not try? So on the seventh night, they do this. And the guy's name was John, I believe, funnily enough. And he was setting in the woods, and he was and right next to this fishing village is this lake, right? And so he had his back to the lake, and he was looking at the woods, because this is where a lot of people went missing. They called it the butchery, because it was like where an area of the village where a lot of the 80-something people would go missing. That's like 10% of the population of the village, by the way, that had been murdered by this thing, this demon. Well, they all start to hear this low rumbling, and it's so loud that he can agree that it makes your whole body shake. And then somebody pointed out that behind them in the lake, ripples started appearing. And then they saw this monstrous thing come out of the water that looked like a demon. Now, hold on, Tyler. You're going to want to stick around for this. This big demon thing came out of the water and quickly zoomed up to their little hook bait trap and bit it and started thrashing around because this giant hook had caught it. I want you to look up a picture of this.
I'm trying.
Because they got a picture of it.
Okay.
It was the largest crocodile ever seen on the planet. A true monster, unlike any of the other crocodiles. And this thing was like 3 or 4 times bigger. And when it growled, your body would shake. And it did kill 80-something villagers out of this fishing village in Cambodia.
Why didn't it eat more of the people? Why did it just do the organs and
because I don't know, maybe it was doing it every night that it was so often that it was just like bloodlusted, basically. It just wanted to kill, and it would eat a little bit of them and then leave, probably because it knew it.
When did all that happen? Was it in the 50s?
I don't think so. I think it was like 2005.
Oh shit.
It's recent. I remember the picture hitting the internet. It's this giant alligator or crocodile. I forget the difference. But the point I'm trying to make here is that for years, people took these people for fools because they were saying this giant demon was attacking them, when in reality it was completely explained. But they weren't lying.
Their accounts were accurate.
Yes,
they were
everything they said.
People get hung up on what the fuck we call these things.
If we had called that thing the
Croc Man,
yes, people would say, "Oh, you're a fucking idiot." But they weren't lying. They were telling the truth the whole time. The Cambodia government, I think it was Cambodia government, told them we can't kill this thing, so they relocated it.
Oh, they
took it, which is not what we would do here. Here, if an animal kills humans, it gets killed, right?
Right.
But there they relocated it. So theoretically, this giant monster demon crocodile thing is still out there if you run across it.
So yeah. So in that case, the accounts and everything that the witnesses were providing was accurate. They were just applying it to something that turned out to, and that could be the case for a lot of things.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. Do I think that Sasquatch is real? Of course not. But could people have seen something?
Well, and that's kind of whenever we talk about seeing a large, 9-foot tall black thing flying at O'Hare Airport, and we call it. I don't care what the fuck you call it. We get too hung up on whether we call it Mothman.
Somebody made that name up because they wanted attention and clicks.
That name was made up by a journalist in West Virginia.
Yeah, one guy did that.
Well, and even like the episode of Paranormal Witness that Chris and I have talked a lot about, that is super scary. They call it werewolves on that show. On that show, they refer to them as werewolves. But who's to say that there's not a group of wolves that went kind of nuts for whatever reason, and they had several wolves in there that somehow had learned the ability to stand up on 2 legs?
Or it's just a species we haven't. Did you know over the past week in Australia there was this new walking stick that was found?
The size of that
was the size of a human arm.
Right. Yeah, it was huge.
Right. I mean, and it looked like an alien.
And did you see it pull its wings out?
Yeah, it's creepy as hell.
If you were to see that shit on your roof, at night, that's a motherfucking alien.
Or if it was just a little bit bigger, even
it was
arm size.
Yeah, it was.
It's a big deal. But even like those wolves there, if you could come back in there and look at that, there's not really a whole lot of things that are different from a wolf pack, the way a wolf pack would attack than the way they did on that one. The thing that makes them different is the fact that they stood up on 2 legs.
Yeah.
That's the only part of that whole thing that makes it any different.
Yeah. Yeah. Otherwise, they were just gigantic wolves.
Right. And, it could be something completely mundane. I've seen dogs that have their front like paws injured that will stand up and kind of waddle on two legs.
Yeah. Well, bears do it a lot.
Maybe this wolf was just a really big wolf that had its front paws hurt.
Right, it could be, and you know, who knows? Maybe there was 3 or 4 of them that were that way, or
but
something
to immediately
happened.
call those people stupid and crazy for saying they saw it, I think is a mistake.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, my whole point was we just have very little proof of anything.
Well, that's where I was thinking on the way up. Like, that's where I wanted us to talk about is what, in our opinion, for everything we've caught, what is your best proof?
I think we could do that next time.
Yeah, we could definitely we could do that next time. Before we go this time though, I wanted to play the old man popped in on the last podcast.
There's several. Also, we also had EVPs of something when you guys were doing a battle royal.
Yeah. I'm just going to play it, and you're going to hear him, and then the kind of speaks for itself. Here it is.
A nail bomb.
This does remind me.
I didn't hear anything.
Okay, let me do it again. Here we go.
A nail bomb.
This does remind me.
What are we focusing in on?
You cannot tell me you can't hear that.
Is it loud enough? Can you hear it? Okay.
Yeah, I mean,
let me turn it up a little bit
for the audience listening. Like, what are we? Because there's a lot of
that thing.
Hang on. Here we go. Here, just listen again.
A nail bomb.
This does remind me.
that might have been me.
Really?
Was it?
I don't know how on earth.
It sounds like it's what it said. Was it?
Let me hear it again. Let me do it again.
A nail bomb.
This does remind me. How would that be you? That doesn't sound like you. Does that sound like you to you?
I don't know. I don't know. I'm just trying to.
It's just weird because you said something right before it at like a totally different cadence, and then you.
Yeah, that's true. I was just talking, wasn't I? In a normal voice.
I speak douchebag. Play it again.
All right, let me play it again. Here we go. Last time.
A nail bomb.
This does remind me.
It sounds more like him than him.
It's not Dustin. That sounds more like me.
Yeah, it sounds more like Tyler than Dustin.
I knew. Yeah, he's right. It was more douchey.
What about the other ones? The I'm over here's.
Is it hay? I don't see any. All I see is hay.
Yeah, hey.
Hey, okay.
There's several of those.
Yeah, I see. Okay, here we can go ahead and play one.
Places like Willard, when we say
There was one.
It was places like Willard.
sounds like you're singing like a
places like. It does sound like
a Christmas carol.
I'm singing a ditty.
All right, here we go. Let's do it again.
Places like Willard, when we say. I also hear like a silverware being dropped in the background.
Yeah.
there.
You will, because Tamara, I think, was moving stuff in the kitchen area.
Okay, let's do the next one here. Hang on. Here we go.
Screeching at us.
Yeah. No, not the silverware part. It's after that. Hang on.
before it.
Here we go.
Screeching at us.
Yeah.
That.
I can't tell. Yeah, I can't tell. I hear it there. There's one more.
What's the other voice?
It's Tamara in the kitchen again.
All right, one more. Here we go. Buy it upon. And then this sphere. Yeah, there was a whisper back there. But I really like this one because I can't figure out who the fuck it would be.
A nail bomb.
This does remind me. I don't know who that would be.
If it's any of the 5 of us, it's most likely Tyler's voice, but
Yeah.
I don't know the context of what he would be replying to.
I don't know.
there.
I don't either. Anyway, we just thought it was interesting. Again, what we're providing here is not proof that we've caught.
There's no proof in here at all.
But so next week, and let me get it clear so I can get my head in the right space. We want to talk about what specifically.
We've done that before. We've done this episode.
Are we
Can we
talking
talk
our
about something
fav-
that's not overly stupid because
Well-
Bobby's coming?
Are we talking about our
Oh, you don't want to embarrass. You don't want to be embarrassed.
favorite or what?
No.
No, she just rarely gets to come and doesn't.
Is she coming in for the next podcast? Okay.
Yeah.
I would say, what is your favorite piece of evidence that we've ever caught? That
we
you
talk-
specifically think is the best evidence we've caught?
Because I have some that I think are fucking funny. I have some that I think are bizarre. I have some that I think.
Like I said, I meant a
best.
government man walks in and says, "We need your best evidence on
Oh,
ghosts."
What do you
Okay.
think? What do you think the best evidence is?
So the
that we've
closest
caught?
thing we have to proof of a ghost.
What we would consider proof.
I'm gonna have to think about that one because that's
That's
gonna
easy
be
for me.
I got.
Well, I can't wait to hear it.
Well, I got a bunch, but it's like if I'm thinking in that way, if the man in black comes in
Right now, it's the
and
point
says,
says,
"I need your best piece of proof, one piece." That's or a couple maybe. I don't know that I can do one. Anyway, we're gonna have to think about that. We can come back with that next week.
More Dark Matter next week from Pythian Castle in Springfield, Missouri with Midwest Ghost Hunters.